The new Netflix series Bridgerton is a smash hit and tells a story of wealth, lust, and betrayal set in Regency-era England and centers around the powerful Bridgerton family. Bridgerton has made quite a lot of buzz since its Netflix release and even made it to Netflix's top 10 list. So stay tuned and don't go away, because the Bridgerton cast has revealed the hardest moments of the show. First up, what are some of the hardest aspects of the show for Bridgerton star Rege-Jean Page? Let's have a look. One thing Bridgerton has been getting a lot of attention for is its steamy sex scenes. Bridgerton has a number of remarkable sex scenes, including a 3-minute sex montage. Naturally, one might think that these scenes are the most difficult for the cast and crew to get through. However, that is not the case. For leading actor Rege-Jean Page, who plays the character Simon Bassett, the sex scenes were actually not the most difficult scenes to film. Page recently explained that the scenes that were most difficult for him to film were the moments where there are high emotions. Some of the scenes Page is referring to require minimal reaction, which in turn makes them far more difficult to shoot. Page said, "The hardest moments are the very subtle barbs and hurts over the dinner table. When someone says something that you don't get to blow up about, that you don't get to cry about. You just have to take that sting right in the rib cage and express that through a flick of an eyebrow or through the way that you cut your peas." Page's character, Simon Bassett, is also the Duke of Hastings and has plenty of emotional looks peppered with eyebrow raises that convey tones without the need for dialogue. So Page's comments make perfect sense. His character has a difficult past that has affected his emotional and mental health in adulthood. Page keeps his character's personal history and emotional state in mind when determining how to act out his scenes, the trademarks of a talented actor. Next up, what was the hardest moment for Page thus far? Let's find out. One scene in particular that sticks out in Page's mind as very difficult was a scene where he had to express the Duke's hurtful past without it being verbalized through dialogue. According to Page, there's a moment in the house of the Bridgertons where it's ostensibly a quite calm, happy scene. "I'm at dinner for the first time with this family. I really don't want to be there, but you can't say that. The kids are there and they're all happy and playing and being accepted in exactly the warm and loving family that Simon never had." And that is never explicitly mentioned in the script at that moment. No one's going to say it, but it's the biggest thing about that scene for him. Inhabiting that space is the most challenging, but also the most gratifying part. The scene in question takes place before viewers even know the extent of the neglect that the Duke of Hastings experienced as a child and how it has affected him into adulthood. When we look back at the scene that highlights the Duke's terrible childhood, we can clearly see how uncomfortable he is, surrounded by a family that's so tight-knit. If you're just starting to watch Bridgerton, pay close attention to the Duke's facial expressions. There's a ton of meaning behind those expressions that you may not have realized. Up next, what are the hardest moments of the show for Bridgerton star Phoebe Dynevor? Let's take a look. For Bridgerton star Phoebe Dynevor, the hardest scene to shoot in Bridgerton was having to perform an orgasm. Dynevor plays the lead character Daphne and revealed that the hardest scene to shoot was her orgasmic solo sex scene. The show explores the tumultuous relationship between Phoebe's character and the dashing Duke of Hastings. The couple's honeymoon sex scenes play a pivotal role midway through the show. For Dynevor, these scenes were extremely difficult to film. In a recent interview, Dynevor revealed the difficulties actors face when shooting such steamy scenes, especially when it came to exploring Daphne's sexuality. Dynevor said, "There's not much sexuality there. It's very much the male gaze. I wanted to make my character feel modern and have sexual desires as women do, and have a lot going on that isn't surface level." She recalls one specific scene which required her character to masturbate, saying it was the hardest scene to shoot. The stage directions are very specific, and you have to perform having an orgasm. It's a difficult thing to rehearse, which means you just do it. It's perfectly understandable that such scenes could make a number of actors feel uncomfortable, especially if the actors have never done scenes of that nature before. Stay tuned and don't go away, because we're discussing some of the hardest moments of the show. Next up, how did a female intimacy coordinator help Phoebe Dynevor through the show's hardest moments? You're about to find find out. Dinevor explained, "We did the intimate scenes like stunts. We blocked them out, so you have yoga balls in between you and all sorts of things that never make you feel exposed in any way. You always feel safe. I'd rehearsed with Rege so much that we both knew what we were doing. It felt very practical, but on my own, it's a different thing." Dinevor credits her personal female intimacy coordinator for making her feel safe and comfortable on set. Dinevor revealed that her intimacy coach, Lizzie Talbot, is on set for every racy scene. If it weren't for Talbot, Dinevor said it would be the director, who is a male, coming up to her and telling her what to do, which would make her feel really awkward and uncomfortable. Dinevor explained that she felt so safe knowing that Lizzie was there, and if something went wrong or the director wanted something done differently, he would speak to Lizzie first. It would have been a very difficult experience if Lizzie hadn't been on set protecting Dinevor and taking care of her. Dinevor spoke for thousands of female actors when she explained that female actors don't want to be told how to perform an orgasm on set by a male. And as a side note, we have some great news for you Bridgerton fans out there. It's been revealed that Bridgerton has been officially renewed by Netflix for season 2 after weeks of speculation and is set to air on March 25th, 2022. Up next, what will season 2 of Bridgerton focus on? Let's take a look. Season 2 of Bridgerton will focus on Anthony Bridgerton, played by actor Jonathan Bailey, and his quest to find a wife after his turbulent love life crumbled apart in season 1. Lord Anthony Bridgerton intends to dominate the social scene as he searches for a bride. The first season focused primarily on the love story of Simon Bassett, the Duke of Hastings, and Daphne Bridgerton, who started out as friends as a ploy to fool London's elite and Lady Whistledown herself before falling in love with each other. But who can forget when Simon fastens the undone buttons on Daphne's lace glove while maintaining intense eye contact? It was clearly an act of foreplay. Unlike other shows, with Bridgerton, you have to read between the lines a lot because a seemingly innocent physical touch oftentimes evolves into sexual desires between characters. Yes, with Bridgerton, it's all about the details. The show even made a hedge maze look sexy, as Daphne and the Duke couldn't keep their hands off each other and retreated away from guests for a steamy encounter in the garden during a social gathering. They were caught by Daphne's brother Anthony and socialite Cressida Cowper, played by actor Jessica Madsen. The steamy moment led to the couple having to marry to avoid a scandal. Finally, what was one of the hardest moments of the show overall? You're about to find out. Bridgerton actor Nicola Coughlan accidentally stabbed a co-star after an on-set wardrobe mishap. Coughlan revealed, "I stabbed someone on my first day and magically didn't get fired." Coughlan, who plays Penelope Featherington, got off to a rocky start after she accidentally drew blood from fellow co-star Claudia Jessie after an on-set accident. Coughlan explained she went in for her first costume fitting, and members of the wardrobe department told her she was very small and that they were going to put her in heels. But it quickly became evident on Coughlan's first day of shooting, Coughlan couldn't walk in heels. So as Coughlan was walking along during a scene with her corset on, she toppled over and fell on the ground. Coughlan ultimately fell on the ground 3 times, and on the 3rd time, she was carrying an umbrella. When Coughlan fell, the umbrella stabbed Claudia Jessie, the actor who plays her on-screen sister, Eloise Bridgerton, in the hand, and it drew blood. Claudia quickly forgave Nicola, and after Claudia received care from medical staff, they resumed shooting. Eloise will play a more significant role in season 2 as she attempts to find herself a man and is still on a quest to find and expose Lady Whistledown, who's voiced by famed actor Julie Andrews. Season 2 is poised to be even better than the first, so make sure you tune into Netflix and get your binge on, as this Regency-era drama continues to wow audiences around the world. That's a wrap for today's video.